Hey, this is Kevin with Consumer Reports, and I'm back down here at Clearwater Lake, and I'm doing a range test on the Escort AimGuard pump action 12 gauge shotgun. And what I've already done is basically went through about 100 rounds down there. You can see them of just birdshot, number 8, 2 3/4 inch, to get a feel for how the shotgun cycles, and just a quick look at reliability. And out of the 100 rounds, we didn't have any issues, and we were able to bust a few clay pigeons, so I was pleased with that. One of the things that we did note was that the shotgun's extremely light, so it's going to give you a little bit of recoil, but I personally didn't think it was too bad. Now, what I'm going to do first here, you can see I've got a selection of shells, and I've got some Winchester 3-inch double-aught buck, some 2 3/4 inch Hornady critical defense double-aught buck, some number 4 Hornady buckshot, some 2 3/4 inch rifle slugs, and then I want to try some of these mini buckshot shells right here. Some of these herders. These are 2 1/4 inch in length, and just to see how they work. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead. I've got a target set up 25 yards downrange down there, and I'm going to take those rifle slugs, and I'm just going to sit there at a rest and just see how the point of aim versus point of impact comes out. I just shot 5 rounds of the rifle slugs, and the sight picture was with the this fiber optic sight right here, sitting with the red part right there, sitting right exactly flat on top of the rail right here. Now, I do want to point out that you can see that the fiber optic sight actually is showing up a little bit better here in the brighter light. One of the comments I've had on this is that I think that the translucentness, or the makeup of the plastic in there for the fiber optic sight, it just is not as bright as some of the other sights that I've seen out there. But in bright light out here, it really is standing out better. Now, this is a 10-inch circle right here, and my point of aim was right there, and I was shooting from that sandbag rest, so I could really kind of hold it on a little bit better. And I put 5 shots through here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, somehow or another right here, and a 5th one. So that was probably me jerking the trigger or something like that. But what you can see is that the center of this group at 25 yards, so that's 1, 2, 3, so we're roughly about 4 inches down. So at 25 yards, with the barrel and sight picture the way it is right now, it's shooting down about 4 inches at 25. Now, I don't really think that's an issue from a home defense perspective. I'm going to get some more data, shooting the buckshot at 7 yards, 14 yards, and then 21 yards, and we'll kind of see how that patterns out. But clearly, if you were shooting at some type of target within 25 yards, you're still going to be lethal in your shot. And if you're accustomed to shooting this particular shotgun more, you're just going to have to compensate and aim a little bit high if that's really what you're shooting for. I've got the target set up 7 yards down range, and I'm going to shoot some different types of shot through it, just to give you an idea of the size of the pattern you could expect with like birdshot, buckshot, or number 4. I just shot the Hornady critical defense 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch shells at 7 yards, and this is 1 shot. And what you're going to see here is that this entire group, basically, of the shot itself is right within this group right here. This hole over here is the wad that actually went through. But the pellets themselves, again, were right here in this circle right here, which is about, I don't know, roughly, so maybe about 2 inches tall and about, I don't know, 1.5 inches wide, something like that. I just shot the Hornady number 4 buck right here, which is actually 24 pellets, and you can see that number 4 at 7 yards, the diameter of the circle has actually gotten larger right here. Again, this hole up here is just where the wad went through, But now we're looking at something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 inch roughly diameter circle versus somewhat around a 2 inch with the double aught buck. I just gave one shot of the Winchester 3 inch double aught buck right here, and there's 15 pellets. And you can see here on this target the 15 pellets. You know, I've got one that cut the edge over here and down there, and then I've got one over here. So we're looking at, you can easily say that ended up going within like a 9 inch circle. Now the wad also went through right here. Now I loaded the magazine tube up with 6 shells. It's really a 5+1, but with these 2 1/4 inch shells right here, this mini buckshot, you could actually get 6 rounds inside the magazine tube. This 2 1/4 inch double aught buck mini buckshot right here at 7 yards ended up producing a spread. There's a shot here, there, and there, which is roughly about 4 inches in diameter, and then the wad ended up going down through there. This is at 7 yards, and this is one shot of Winchester. It's number 8 shot, and it's an 1 1/8 load. And you can see here clearly this 10 inch diameter outside circle right here. I mean, I've got some shot that's coming out here. There's a couple of pellets that are way over here, up there and up there. You know, it probably was at least a foot or to 14 inches in diameter total. But you can see there's a lot that's peppered in this area right here. Now, you know, if this were inside your house, 7 yards, that's a pretty wide spread. You'd probably want something more dense than birdshot with that particular shotgun. Now, some of that depends, you know, how tight the shot's going to be, depends on the choke. That particular shotgun's got a cylinder bore choke, so there's no constriction. So it's just letting the shot go down the barrel and then just come out and spread. I'm now at 14 yards shooting the Hornady Critical Defense 2 3/4 inch double aught buckshot, and you can see here the pattern that it put out, and I believe everything's on the paper. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna have to look back at the specs and see what it is because I don't have the box with me. But most of it's right in there, and you're looking at about roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish tall, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish wide grouping here at 14 yards. This is 14 yards with the Hornady Varmint Express number 4 buck. I think it's got 24 pellets in there, and you can see I got a pellet as high as up here, and I've also got a pellet as low as down there. So we're looking at, that's about 11 inches roughly between those two. And you know, most of them ended up being really in this zone right here, within about a 9 inch, 8 to 9 inch circle. Alright, this is the Winchester Super X 3 inch Magnum double aught buck, and you can see here that I've got the shot pretty much in this circle here, but I've got some as high as up here and some as low as down there, which is roughly maybe about a little over 10 inches in diameter. You know, got some that are over here and there, but you can see that you know, at 14 yards you're still looking at you know, the size of a good sized pie plate. This is 14 yards with the this Herder's mini buckshot, and there's 6 pellets in here, and this is it's 2 1/4 inches in length. So there's 6 pellets, and you can see clearly we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that we can identify on the piece of paper, and I'm not sure where the other ones fell, but you know, they're going to be somewhere in there. But you can see at this distance, with only having 6 pellets in here, you're starting to get, you know, a pretty good dispersion of the pellets on the target. All right, this is at 14 yards with the 2 3/4 inch number 8 birdshot, and you can see that the target pretty much from top to bottom, from left to right, is peppered pretty good. The left side doesn't seem as much, but you can clearly see, I'm going to get it a little bit closer, you can see that the shot dispersion is pretty much over the whole target. I mean, in this case it happens to be biased a little bit to the right, but that could just be a function of that particular load. This is the Hornady Critical Defense 2 3/4 inch double-aught buck, and this is at 21 yards. And you can see the group size that we've got here. And I think, you know, throughout this review, with everything I've shown you, what you're seeing is that the Hornady Critical Defense ammunition, you know, whatever they're doing inside there that keeps their shot together, they consistently produce, you know, pretty good groups, or pretty tight groups, I guess you could say, or pretty tight spread. You know, so if your goal is to get, you know, a maximum density of shot, you know, localized in a very small area, I think the Hornady rounds are probably about the best I've seen out there. I've used them through a lot of my shotgun reviews, and if you go back and you look at some of the other ones, you'll kind of see that the same thing is true for those also. This is the Hornady Varmint Express number 4 buck here at 21 yards, and you can see the spread is pretty wide. I've got one that's out here, I've got one that's up here, I've got one that's down there, and I think in general probably the rest of them, if I counted it, probably got on target. And you know, you could see if you were shooting at a torso at 21 yards with this number 4, you're probably going to get most of those shots within the torso. And with a, you know, every shotgun shell is going to shoot a little bit differently, but you can see that there is a slightly greater density in the center. This is the 3-inch double-aught buck. There's 15 pellets in there at 21 yards, and you can see, you know, we got pellet way over here, got a pellet way down there in that corner right there, as high as up here, as high as down there. So you know, the spread on that, it's pretty wide. All right, this is 21 yards with the mini buckshot right here, and you know what you can see, there's 6 pellets in there, and I've got one that's up here, another one that's right there, one that's there, and one that's there. So that's 4, and the other 2 somehow or another aren't even on the piece of paper. So just looking at it, maybe they're lower or something. But honestly, I'm not sure I'd ever consider this as a home defense round if I felt like defending my home was going to be probably greater than 7 yards. This is the birdshot number 8 2 3/4 inch. This is at 21 yards, and I'm not sure how well it's coming out, but you can see that the entire sheet of paper there has got a you know, a speckling of shot all over it. Now, I wouldn't recommend using birdshot at all at this distance right here for any type of home defense situation. But if you're interested in maybe shooting a few clay pigeons with it, you know, you can. We shot it earlier, and you know, we were successful. I wouldn't, again, if that was what I was interested in doing, I wouldn't buy the shotgun for that. But for home defense, you know, birdshot can be effective when you start looking at it in ranges probably clearly less than 5 yards. It can be extremely effective. After putting this video together, showing my range testing, you know, it seemed more like the range test ended up really being a review of the different types of buckshot or shells shot at different distances. But you know, hopefully, you know, the video will be helpful when you're trying to decide what type of shell to use in your home defense situation. For me, the 2 main types that I typically use for shotguns around my house are going to be the Hornady Critical Defense here, double-aught buck, and also the Hornady Varmint Express. I keep a couple of shotguns loaded around the house with these, and I've been very happy with all of the the range test results that I've seen with the different shotguns, and the Escort AimGuard, you know, honestly, didn't really perform any different than any of the other shotguns that I've tested. You know, I mean, it's pretty simple. You know, you've got a fixed cylinder bore choke. You got an 18-inch barrel. You got a pump action shotgun, and it's not going to really deliver significantly different results because the cylinder bore choke is pretty common for most of your home defense style shotguns. Now, as always, please forgive me if the video ended up being a little bit longer. That's just the way it works with me. But I do want to say thanks for watching the video, and if you like this video, please like or subscribe, or both, and I'll try to continue to bring more in-depth detailed videos on various gun reviews. Thanks. And I want to give a shout out here to Wild Willie for being my target man and replacing the targets every time we went down range, and helping me shoot a few of those skeet. Thank you, Willie. Alright, I've got Willie's going to shoot that tennis ball right.
There's a tennis ball way over yonder.
Yeah, you got one more, shoot it again.
That's spread out pretty good.